Hi guys, so today is the 15th of September at 1:39 in the afternoon. Nothing happened last night, so thank God for that. The watch is still on for the 15th, clearly marked in the video, so we'll see throughout the rest of the day. In reference to Hurricane Florence and the nuclear power plants that have shut down ahead of Hurricane Florence, it says here in this report there's 12 power plants in the Carolinas in total. 9 of them are in the path of the storm. Now, the one that most people, including myself, was focusing on is the Duke Energy's Brunswick nuclear power plant, just because it was probably the most obvious in terms of its location on, I think it's the River Fear or something like that, or something in relation to the name Fear. Cape Fear is where it is. That's the suggestion. So kind of had our focus on that, but there is another power plant that is probably a little bit more dangerous than the Brunswick power plant. Reading this report, it's talking about echoes of Fukushima. Will Duke Energy avoid a Oconee nuclear meltdown? So this isn't the Brunswick power plant, this is the Oconee nuclear station, and it's located on Lake Keowee in Oconee County, South Carolina. So Duke Energy and government regulators have been hiding a not-so-little secret from the people of Carolinas. Duke's Oconee nuclear power plant, 3 aged nuclear reactors 30 miles from Grenville, South Carolina, is at risk of a meltdown should an upstream dam fail. Now that dam could either be, well, it might be both of them, but there's 2 dams that sit on the Lake Keowee River that serves the Oconee nuclear power station, and that's the Keowee Dam and the Little River Dam. Combined, obviously, they hold a lot of water, and with Hurricane Florence dumping massive amounts of water, it's possible that the dams could fail. There hasn't been no news of that, but if we're talking about a dam failing, a lot of attention is put on the Hoover Dam. It's possible that that's just a representation of a dam in general failing, causing massive flooding in an area, which then affects a nuclear power plant. Similar situations to Fukushima, but this time in the United States. So, keeping all of that in mind, going back to the report, it's saying if it were to happen, a meltdown of all three reactors on the scale of the Fukushima meltdowns and subsequent contaminant failure are virtual certainties, according to U.S. Nuclear Regulator Commission (NRC) documents obtained. These are documents obtained by Greenpeace. We also received a tip that the cost to upgrade the Oconee nuclear power plant site to address the triple meltdown threat would cost Duke Energy $1 billion. So this guy, he questioned the CEO, Jim Rogers, about the dangers of the nuclear power plant and what they're going to do to protect it. He said, with respect to the $1 billion expenditures, I mean, the reality is we're the most capital-intensive industry in the country. And what we try to do is we reinvest and take on nuclear, because you're thinking about our Oconee plant and how do you deal with the dam and that situation. That's our nuclear fleet, because of the investments we make in it over the last several years. Our cheapest electricity, our nuclear fleet provides electricity at a lower price than it seems to me, when you're reading this sentence, when you're reading this statement, it's a lot of stopping and starting. He doesn't really know how to answer the question. He's been put on the spot here. So the guy then goes on to say, it's worth noting that Rogers didn't deny the potential $1 billion price tag of the Oconee repairs. Even for Duke, that's a serious amount of money. I wonder if Duke's shareholders know that the company could end up being on the hook for that kind of pricey fix. Considering such a pricey fix, I mean, this report was put out in 2013, so a number of years ago, 5 years ago, and it's likely that they still haven't done anything since then, considering the $1 billion price tag and considering it was there for years before this reporter questioned the CEO. So Greenpeace, saying Greenpeace appreciates that Rogers acknowledging the threat. That's the CEO of Duke Energy, but it kind of goes in, while regulation of the nuclear power plant can be very complex, the issue at Oconee is pretty simple to understand. According to the documents, the potential flood height at Duke Energy's Oconee nuclear power plant is well above the height of Oconee's flood walls, leaving important safety equipment vulnerable. Does this sound familiar? It should. In Japan, again, we're going back to Japan, this is the test in 2011, the nuclear industry knew that the flood wall at Fukushima was too low and did nothing about it there either. So we have a nuclear power plant that has flood walls that are too low, and the potential for flooding from a dam failing in the middle of Hurricane Florence, which is dumping massive amounts of water. Do you see how it could all potentially end up quite bad? So looking at the potential for that happening, alerting you guys to that potential, and maybe if someone is able to get maybe some more information regarding this particular power plant. As I've said, a lot of people's eyes, Duke Energy is the right company that we're looking at in terms of this nuclear power plant, or nuclear power. But I think the Brunswick nuclear power plant is not the one to be focusing on, considering this one, the Oconee power plant, has flood walls that are below the level of the threat that could come from the dam failing, which could fail if it has too much water, which could happen because Hurricane Florence is dumping a massive amount of water on North and South Carolina. Currently, it's moving down south, so it's getting more into South Carolina. It's a tropical storm at the moment. Still massive amounts of rain. So again, hopefully nothing in that kind of scenario happens. But you have to acknowledge the potential for it happening, which is what I'm doing and presenting it to you guys. So with that said, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.